So I'm sitting here in my living room in Bali at 23 years old, just thinking about, holy shit, my life has changed so much in the past 500 days. A year and a half ago, I was sitting in my little college bedroom in a house built in the 1950s, smoking weed every single day, eating like absolute garbage, never going to the gym. And my business, dude, I would spend 8 hours a day sitting on Canva making cute little designs that didn't actually matter or move the needle on anything. I was in the kindergarten of entrepreneurship. Fast forward to now, and I'm managing a 70K a month business in Bali with a team of 22 people. I've completely transformed my body, my mindset, and my entire fucking life. And you've probably seen other entrepreneurs talking about their transformation stories, but this is not some bullshit get rich quick video. This is about specific actions that I took that I just knew would have positive long-term consequences. Things that would make an impact then, but I would not see the results until way later. And it turns out that's exactly how it worked. I'm about to break down the entire timeline of how I went from a college kid who just hated every second of college to a 23-year-old running a multiple six-figure business, but there was one thing in month 6 that completely rewired my brain and showed me what was possible. Let me start with exactly where I was 500 days ago because the contrast is fucking insane. And the daily routine I had, bro, it was literally pathetic. I would wake up at noon, immediately smoke weed, like all day long. Don't get me wrong, I still worked, but the quality of my work was nowhere close to what it is now. So after I was done smoking, I would eat whatever garbage was in the fridge, or I just wouldn't eat at all, and then spend 8 hours at my laptop thinking, I'm building a business. I'll give myself credit, those hours had to be put in where I had no idea what I was doing, and I had to believe that the work I did was actually helping the business. I had recently partnered up with a friend of mine from high school who was a fitness influencer on Instagram. My first plan was building this little community on Skool and add a little fitness course to it. And I spent months perfecting this little course outline, getting him to record it, editing it, making the slideshows for all of it. But here's the thing, no one gave a fuck. It's the fitness industry. Right now, if I had any question on earth about fitness, I could just go to ChatGPT. But we launched it anyway. And what happened when we launched completely shocked me. When we launched it in early May of last year, I was completely shocked that we actually got any sales. Like I was catastrophizing thinking that all this hard work and months of effort I put in would get not a singular dollar across the board. A big fat old goose egg of money. But we made sales. People were actually interested. That first month we made $2,000 and it felt like $1 million because it just proved to me that people would actually buy, right? Put myself out there, posted the marketing, and people actually bought. I went from being excited that we got a single sale to you'll see what happens. But I was still doing everything wrong. I was a one-man show, the salesperson, the course creator, the marketer, the community manager, all the growth operator stuff. And I just couldn't get anything done. I was sitting in the DMs for 8 hours a day, texting people, getting them to pay me $75 a month. And that is when I realized I needed to start thinking differently about leverage. And the way I discovered the principle of leverage is the reason that I now have 22 people working with me on the team. By month 4, I started hiring the first team members. I kept hearing guys like Alex Hormozi and Dan Martell talking about how every hour I spend doing $10 an hour work, I could be doing $1,000 an hour work. So I looked at the thing that was taking me the most time, which is doing the DM closing. So the first hire I made was a DM closer. We paid him hourly, which makes no sense on a sales job. You should pay your reps a commission, so they're actually motivated to make you money. But now that he was DM closing, I had 8 hours freed up, so I could actually think about how to grow the business. And fast forward to today. Now I have a 1-hour meeting per day with my director of product who manages 5 different coaches, all working full time. So that 1 hour that I put in on that meeting gets me 40 hours of work executed by my team. So now my time is way more leveraged. By month 5, things were starting to move better, things were starting to move faster. But there was one event that happened in month 6 that completely changed my perspective on business, and it's the reason that I am sitting in Bali right now. Back in the beginning, I joined this community called Creator Accelerator, run by Brady Badur and Eddie Cumberbatch. It was the growth operator business opportunity that everyone was talking about. Inside this community, they announced the Go Games, right? Who can provide the most value in the community? When they announced this, there was only 2 people in the entire group that had the same reaction, which is me and my now business partner who I live with in Bali. We both saw this opportunity and went, holy shit, this is it. I need to go all in and make sure I win this shit. Why? Because the winners of that event would win a free ticket to Chicago for our mastermind event. And being in Minnesota, I thought I will drive, I will fly, I will be there. Absolutely. So I announced to the community, I am going to win. And from then on, I just made it happen. I worked way less on the business and I started posting hella value in the community. Day after day, I would post full-length courses on how to do business, everything I've learned. All because I had the judgment and the discernment at the time that if I was in that room of people, it would change my life forever. If I could just get myself to Chicago and be around all these guys doing way better than me in business at the same age, my whole mindset and my entire trajectory of my entire life would shift forever. And it fucking did. I met guys who were hitting $430,000 in a single month and they were younger than me. These guys were doing 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Holy shit. The money that they were making was insane. And I realized that I can do this too. So this mastermind event is where I realized that hitting 10K a month, hitting 100K a month, and hitting $1 million a month, they are all just trophies. This is one big video game. And in entrepreneurship, you just have to beat the bosses. Up until that point of the mastermind, my entire game plan was, how do I hit 10K a month? But after that mastermind, I wrote in my journal, I'm going to hit 100K a month. Not even to get like super rich, just to beat the game, just to beat that level of the game. But even though I learned a lot of that mastermind, the most important thing was not the strategies that I was getting taught by these guys. It was meeting someone who would become my business partner and lead to me sitting here in Bali right now.
You can insert yourself into the business and immediately make more money.
So I met Matt and neither of us had any clue what our future held together. We both just had this obsessive drive and this weird like autistic energy that just really clicked. And in this room full of entrepreneurs, I had never felt like I fit in more. From kindergarten through 9th grade, I was bullied pretty bad just for being the weird kid, the oddball. But in this group, everyone around me was just a little weird too. Nah, they were super weird. We're all so weird. We all just nerd out. We all have these obsessive, addictive personalities. We're into weird health shit. There's just these patterns, right? But with Matt especially, we just had a connection and we both had a conviction to partner up together. From there, we traveled more. We got invited to a mastermind event in New York City, which was a massive step above the mastermind event in Chicago. I met a girl there who was doing 400K a month, my age. Met these guys doing $3 million a month. At this event, there were highly competent, highly talented entrepreneurs. At one point, this young kid comes up to us. He doesn't have any shoes or socks on, just barefoot in the office, and he starts just chatting it up with us. Hey guys, how's it going? What's up? And I could tell he was very smart. Turns out this was the CEO of WAP. 24-year-old kid running a $1 billion plus company, owned the office that we were all sitting in, just talking to us like equal. From that point on, I realized that I could actually be successful in this game. Again, I felt like I fit in. Everyone there was so weird. But what happened next after New York City not only completely transformed my business, but it completely transformed my lifestyle in ways that I could have never possibly imagined. My business partner convinced me to move to Bali, and when I say he had to convince me, he had to convince me. Every single day, he would just be priming me and framing me and fucking... My business partner turned into a propaganda machine that we were going to move to Bali. When we go to Bali, right, Alex? I'm like, yeah. When we go to Bali? Over and over again. And finally, I was convinced. We gotta go to Bali. All right, I'm about to capture kind of a crazy moment. About to click a single button that will set in motion a journey across the globe to a tiny island in the Indian Ocean, Bali. Super excited. Go with my business partner and it's gonna be super awesome. Kind of hesitant, kind of going back and forth, like I'm not sure if I should do this because it's new. It's honestly out of my comfort zone. The 2 whole day trip in an economy plane, not comfortable, and I've been like, it's a pretty big step, and I'm gonna do it right now. My trip is booked. The metal tube will take me across the globe onto uncharted territory, and I'll put my foot on the earth for the first time in that zone of the world. And I'll be away from family and friends, and yeah, it's gonna be awesome. My parents literally said, you should not go to Bali until you have your student loans paid off. And one day you can go and travel. But I realized that it would cost me more money in terms of opportunity if I didn't expose myself to this world, if I didn't go on an adventure, if I didn't actually live in person with my business partner. It would cost me way more money than the little money I'd be saving at home. We made it. We goddamn made it. So we moved, and I did not expect myself to actually do it. I also did not expect myself to stay. I also did not expect myself to go back to the United States for 2 months and think, oh, I need to be living in Bali right now. Minnesota was not the right environment for me right now. So I came back to Bali, and now I live here. And in 2025, my life has completely flipped upside down. Remember what I said about my morning routine 500 days ago? I would wake up at 12, smoke a fuck ton of weed, and then not eat anything, and then do this bullshit work. Now my routine is I wake up, I meditate, I hit the gym, I cold plunge, I go to a beautiful gym called Nirvana, and my days are filled with a reverence and an appreciation for God. I pray every day to God, and I thank Him for giving me this life, and I ask Him to help me become more aligned to my authentic self. I ask Him to make my message more clear, to be Alex, to show who Alex is to the world. And on that note, I really do think that something that happened recently inspired me to be more front-facing with my personal brand, which was the death of Ben Bader. I realized that when Ben Bader died, I felt a loss because I felt like I actually knew him. I felt like I saw parts of his personality and parts of his character and parts of his wisdom that actually made me connected to him. And when I saw the outpour of grief and loss after this tragedy, I realized the impact that he had just by being himself. I didn't realize I had to be someone else to actually just put myself out there and just speak my story. So I'm really grateful to Ben for putting himself out there, for sharing his journey, and for helping me along my own path. And in this pursuit of becoming more aligned and more authentic to myself, I quit nicotine, I quit caffeine, I quit weed, and everything I put in my body now, I try to make it extremely healthy. Lean beef, sweet potatoes, eggs, avocado, fruit, and I just feel so good. I just generally feel good. I don't need to be constantly medicating myself, constantly doing all this stuff to distract me from the internal dread that I'm carrying around every single day. I'm getting in better shape, even though I'm still a toothpick. We're getting there. And in terms of our business, we just don't work as much, but we're pushing super hard for $100K a month. We have a sales manager, we have closers, we have setters, we have coaches, we have managers. The most satisfying feeling I've ever had is being able to be a leader to other leaders within my own company. That feels so mind-blowingly good, to be able to get on a call with my director and help him become a better leader. But the most incredible part of this whole story was not the new lifestyle, the new money, the bigger business. I think for me, it's realizing how it really works. And here's what I learned. You cannot plan your way to success. I did not plan any of this shit. In fact, everything that I did plan did not happen. All you can really do is take actions that you know will have a long-term benefit. Everything has second and third order consequences. The results that you're seeing today are a result of the actions you took a year ago. Even me recording this video is a result not of just feeling like doing it today, but of praying, overcoming different insecurities about myself, overcoming different perfectionist and procrastinating barriers in myself, and now I'm doing this. Every major breakthrough that I've had in my life came from doing things that seemed like they would not have an immediate payoff. Joining that community and going all in on winning that silly little game inside the community led me to going to the mastermind event, meeting my business partner, and going to Bali. Investing $21,000 in education in the last year led me to thinking more about Facebook ads, which led me to learn Facebook ads, which led me to being able to run an ad campaign that has a 7x ROAS. Hiring team members before I felt like I could afford them. Moving to Bali when it seemed crazy and no one in Minnesota was doing anything like that. The pattern is always the same. Take massive action now. Don't expect a result right now. Trust the process and stay consistent even when you can't see the results yet. And that brings me to what I think is the most important thing for you to understand about your own transformation, because there's something that will determine if you actually make it happen. I'm sitting here at 23 years old, running a $70,000 business at 70% margins, living in a villa in Bali, in the best shape of my life, surrounded by incredible people, and I have no idea what the next year will bring. It is literally possible that we 10x within the next year. We could legitimately hit $700,000 in 1 month. It is literally possible to hit that in the next year. We might move to Florida and have our entire team relocate to work in person with us. They would all move to Florida just to work with us. We want like a Wolf of Wall Street, boiler room sales style, just absolute mayhem. And I have no idea what my life will be in 10 years. So if there's no way for you to know what your life will look like in a year, what actions could you take now that will basically guarantee it is 10 times better than what it is today? Actually think about that. What could you do tomorrow? A very small action that could have a massive ripple effect on what happens 1, 2, 10 years down the line. That gives me a lot of purpose and a lot of joy. One thing that I do that I recommend that you do as well is every single day I write down 3 wins in my journal. I got this concept from The Gap and the Gain, a very good book, and it just helps me focus on what are the little things. What are the little things in my life that are adding up that normally I wouldn't even see? Well, unfortunately the camera died, and we have a rule in this house that a video must go up once per week or else you have a punishment. My punishment is paying a large sum of money to another guy in the house. So I'm finishing the video on my phone, but I'm gonna keep working, pushing myself to have courage, and I trust God a lot with my future. even though I have no idea what it brings. I just know that the 1% things I learn every single day, this thing about ads, this thing about marketing, this thing about product, this thing about leadership, it's all accumulating to make this mental model that is just more competent in business and in life, period. And if you do the exact same thing, you stop trying to plan and you just do the things that you know will make your life better over time, your life in 500 days will be completely unrecognizable. So I'm documenting my life as I get to that $1 million a month mark. So subscribe, join along, and I'll see you in the next video.